All right. So welcome, and welcome again, all aspects of you, to this wonderful opportunity that we have with Medical and Metaphysical Magic with Karyn Creighton and Karyn Janelle Davis. And today we're going to be dealing with that hot topic of depression, and I'm sure it'll run through to anxiety as well. So before we get started, this I need to do, and the thing that I must do at every point of this is we are not offering medical advice. What we are doing is sharing experiences and our own personal opinions in regard to this lovely topic. So Karyn, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you everybody who's here. We welcome you with our hearts wide open.
So exciting, isn't it? And I can hear your end. You've been joined by crickets, and I've been joined by crickets too. So they're actually communicating with each other.
They are. And have you, when it comes to the crickets, have you ever heard, I heard it on YouTube, the Cricket Symphony? Somebody recorded crickets playing, and then they altered the speed of it to a slower frequency, and it sounds like a choir. It sounds like the most superb choir singing. It is incredible. It tingles the entire body to listen to this choir singing. And so now when I hear the crickets, I'm like, there's a choir singing there.
Yeah, so talking of frequencies, because of course we're all running at a certain frequency, and as you quite rightly say, the crickets are running at a slightly different frequency to us. And bringing it to the subject of things like depression and anxiety, does this mean that we're actually just running slightly off our frequency, like like a radio frequency? Like if you're listening to your favorite radio station, and all of a sudden it goes all crackly, wackly, you're driving, it goes all crackly, and you have to slightly adjust it. Yes. Do you think that maybe depression might be something like that?
Ooh, I like that introduction. Perhaps it is. So I'm inviting everybody that's on the call and whoever watches this later to have a feel into the idea of depression being on a frequency basis. So we know that static sound when the radio goes, and it's slightly off the tuning. Perhaps it is. Let's explore, because depression shows up for people in many ways. And let's start at that process there. From your experience, Karyn, with working in the clinic for years and years and years, what have you noticed in the way depression shows up for the clients that you've, what is the symptoms and ways it's showing up in their life?
There's actually a myriad of real interesting symptoms that we encounter. And the interesting thing, Karyn, which I've observed probably more over the last few years than before, because people used to come to me and say, look, I'm just feeling flat. I'm feeling like I can't be bothered to do anything. I've lost my va-va-voom. Or in the cases of long-term depression, they don't remember having va-va-voom, and they want some. And there's lots of, and then there's, of course, you've got different extremes. But what I've noticed over the last few years is there's so many people who present as being really happy, really, really on top of everything. But underneath the facade is this child just crying out and wanting to know what it's all about. Why do I feel this way? Why? And that's what we're sort of like diving into, because there's so many whys, wherefores of why we go in. And it seems to me, I don't know if you've encountered this, Karyn, it seems to me it's a bit like I don't like to call it an epidemic, but it's very, very widespread. This feeling of being just down, just unknown why. Some people know why, but a lot of the time at the moment, it seems that people don't really know why they're down, why they're feeling so lacking in energy, lacking in, as I say, va-va-voom. And so that, and also depression can lead to lots of other symptoms.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I track back to different situations that people have come into the clinic, you know, I'm crying all the time. I sometimes don't even know why I'm crying. I've had people say, I'm just so stuck in my head. I can't even get away from myself. I've had other people say that they've experienced a deep sense of inner physical pain. And on reflection, as we've talked about it, it didn't start with the physical. It was, when we dug a little bit deeper, it was this emotional pull and more push. So it felt like this contracting experience within them. Some people have expressed it through a light and darkness thing. You know, it's just like I only have dark thoughts, or I just want to pull the curtains in my house. I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. I haven't had this sense of, I just don't want to do anything. People ask me to go places, I don't want to go anywhere, and I know that I'm losing friends because of this, or social opportunities, but I just don't seem to care about life anymore. So those are some of the things of, I'm just being reminded of some other ones, which is that sense of heaviness, like a real weightiness, the inability to jump up and do something, to engage. Some people will even say, like, I just feel like I'm procrastinating with absolutely everything, and I'm disconnected from, you know, my relationship or my job. And many people have gone, it's my job, that's why I feel like this, or it's probably, you know, I know I should be doing exercise, I know I should be eating differently, I know I shouldn't be drinking as much, I know I shouldn't be doing all, but I just don't care. And so here comes this just don't care thing again. I say that with a laugh and a giggle because it seems to be very, very real when we're having these experiences.
Oh, I agree 100%. Having been there, I put my hands up. You know, when because when I was in my mid-20s, I went down with chronic fatigue. But before that, I went down with a severe depression, like you say, and started with procrastination. And then it went deeper and deeper and deeper. And then of course, it went even deeper with the physical inability to move. And so there's lots of different differentiations with depression, if we put it in inverted commas, because depression can cover so many things. It can cover trauma, like losing a close friend or relative or child. That can turn you, it can actually make you feel really down and everything. But we know that that's a human emotion that we actually need to feel. Not suppress, but feel. But then there's this other unknown. I didn't turn my phone.
Okay, I'll carry on just while Karen's turning off her phone. The other thing is the label of depression is is given to many people and grabbed by many people. And I even hear my daughter will say that her friend's depressed, or so this is the age of 15. And I've even heard a mother refer to her child who is 8 as depressed. I've witnessed for myself, so my own sharing inside of this, when my daughter was about 9 months, I think, so about 14 years ago, and life was happening all around me and I wasn't coping. I didn't have the coping strategies in place very well, and I was certainly lulling deep in my emotions. My relationship was estranged. Life just in general was showing up in a deep, dark, black space. I went to the doctors with my daughter and presented her because she wasn't well and my son wasn't well. And at that point there, I cried in the doctor's in the doctor's room. And so she dealt with the children and did whatever needed to happen. I can't remember what it was. It was a cold that had gone to their ears or something like that. And then she said, "Now you, dear." I'm going to write you up a prescription for some depression pills. And I said to her, oh, I'm not going to take them. And she tried to talk me into taking them, you know, just to help get you through this. And I was like, no, I'm not going to take them. What's happening in your life? I said, well, things just aren't easy, but blah, 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 blah. And she said, you really should. You've got a young child. You need to have these to help you. And I said, no, I'm not going to be taking these. Now, here's the fascinating thing. I was feeling really low. I could have been labelled as depressed. I could very much have fitted that bracket. But it highlighted for me, okay, I need to change some things. About a week to 10 days later, I received in the mail a mental health letter advising me that because I hadn't taken the doctor's orders, that they, you know, suggestion that they would like to see me separately. So she had obviously seen and witnessed that I wasn't in a coping space, that things weren't good for me, and it was taken to that next level of medical help. Now, I didn't ever go down that track. In fact, I just screwed up the letter and threw it away. And step by step, I took myself through life, and life worked out fine. And yes, I had some moments with it, but that was my choice at the time to not do the medical situation. And I do think a lot of people are being given, personally, I do think a lot of people are being given medical drugs when it's not possibly the best option for them.
Yeah.
But that's only
personal time and place for the medication. So that brings me to a thought that just came into my mind, and it's actually something that I was reminded of over the weekend as I was reading a book. I don't know if you've read Caroline Meese's, I think it's Anatomy of the Spirit, and she mentions about the energy of a country. I mean, this isn't depression, but it just sort of reminds, is this what we're going through? In 1929, there was the Great Depression in the United States, and people were saying that they'd been crippled.
Right.
In 1930, the polio outbreak started, and it was crippling the young children because their defenses weren't as strong. Is that, do you feel, a vibrational, because this is what Caroline Meese was saying, is it the vibrational of the whole country that affects and brings about ailments and ailments? So what I'm saying is about depression, is it because we're using the words depressed all the time? We're hearing it everywhere. We're hearing it in the media. We're hearing it, you know, people are saying it all the time, like you're saying, you know, my child's depressed. Is it because we're hearing it all the time that we're actually stepping into a vibrational space that is lower than what it could be if we started using different words? Because we know how powerful words are.
It's interesting. I love that. It's interesting because the word stress is also used as an opt-out. I'm sorry, but it's used as an opt-out now. I'm just too stressed to do this. There's and the I am phrase is used. I am depressed. I am is a powerful set of words, and whatever we put after the I am statement is actually creating our life.
Yes.
And from a metaphysical level, I'm speaking this. So the words I am are profound. They are the creation statement of the experience that we're bringing into our life. The vibrational sense of the words are the preempt to the physical, even the preempt to the emotional component, therefore the energy, the way the energy is moving through our bodies, and also before the physical takes format. And so this internal cyclic. Now, is it fine if I just go into what I can see now?
Yeah.
Now's a really cool time to share at the metaphysical level of what can be witnessed within the body at an energetic space before, or as the term depression and depressed is being used. So at an energetic level, the cells in particular places in the body are moving very slowly. So they're not doing this outrageous, beautiful dance that the body is free to do when it's flowing freely. They tend to circulate in a so still in the figure of 8 that can be witnessed, but in a different way, so that they're sensing this vibration of putting things together. It can be noticed quite a black spot in the brain, in the center of the brain, and it's that level of inactivity of passion. I can absolutely notice that the heart smile is turned off. The heart smile is always when someone is within that depressive space, the heart smile is turned off, like kind of like a light switch, just the burning fire within. Now this is in the heart smile, but there's also an inactivity in the base. I'm going to say in the orange, so in the sacrum area as well. That is a non-movement. It's that's why we call it depressed, because it has a holding, and often I notice a twist. Interesting, because we've got 3 different brains that can be witnessed in this movement, that are doing their own activity in formation with, and I'm going to guess, with what isn't being free to flow within the body. Yeah. What isn't being free to flow in the body. So those are some of the things I've witnessed at an energetic level. So, what do we do when because the feeling of it for somebody is not nice. In fact, it's closely related to the worst kind of pain that people can experience. Yeah,
absolutely, because it does feel like you're trapped in a physical body that just simply isn't responding to what you want it to do. You see what I mean? And actually, you get trapped in your own mire. Now, I've been very blessed because over the years, I've really learned how to deal with it. I've met some amazing healers, especially people like yourself, Karyn, who have done the physical work with me. And I've also got, learned the tools for the physical body to help the physical body really heal itself, because we need, I believe, and you'll confirm or not, Karyn, I believe that we're in this physical form. We're spiritual beings living in this physical form, and this physical form needs nurturing. And by nurturing, I mean relaxing, pushing the physical body to do physical things, needs to eat well, needs to drink lots of water, and have maybe a few extra tools that you can use to help shift and move through. So there's one herb that comes to mind with people who are on antidepressants, or people feel they need something to help them through this particular time. And that herb is one called rhodiola. RHODOLA. Rhodiola. I'm not sure if I missed out an I there. But rhodiola is an adaptogenic herb. And what that means is it can adapt to your physical body's needs when under stress. So it's where our body's stress response. And the great thing is, rhodiola has no contraindications as far as I know. So what that basically means is if you're on antidepressant medication, you can take rhodiola at the same time. So if you felt that you wanted to come off of any antidepressants, you can use it to give you a counterbalance. So you don't get...
How people use it, how do they take it? Do they chew the leaf? Do they sit on it?
No. Unfortunately, it's not one we grow in New Zealand, as far as I know, but you can get capsules. I mean, I use liquid because I'm a big believer in liquid liquid herbs and liquid nutrients, because I believe we absorb them better that way. And it's a very thick, dense tincture. But you need, most people would use, say, if the tincture, 10 drops twice a day, morning and lunchtime. The reason I say that is that some people, when they're, well, no matter, it doesn't matter whether they're on medication or not, some people find that if they take rhodiola late afternoon, early evening, it can keep them awake.
Okay.
Not everyone.
It has an active component. So where might someone get rhodiola from? Right,
you can purchase rhodiola from health shops, or I do a liquid rhodiola. So you can always come to me, and we can send it out to them. It's
so
very
a herbalist. So if they're in Invercargill, they could go to a herbalist.
Yeah, I think actually you might be able to get it off the shelf, liquid, if you ask. So it's some health shops don't do the liquids. They tend to just do the capsules, and the capsules are good too. So Radiance do a good herbal rhodiola. Again, 1 capsule twice a day.
Yeah.
Or people can always talk to me, and we can go over dosage for their particular need.
Right.
Because it's unique, you know.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. So there's something at a physical level to take. I have to do this. All right. So one of my personal opinion as of today, whatever today's date is at this particular time, whatever this particular time is, my current perception around depression at a high vibrational level is the very fact that we have this judgment between right and wrong, that we have this fear of contrast as opposed to, contraction as opposed to the expansion, and we are and we've dissected ourselves too much. So we just speak about the physical, or we just speak about the emotional, or we just speak about the mental, or we just don't accept the energetic, or we're not interested in the vibrational, and so in a way, this magnificent being, no matter how scientific, logical somebody is, there's an entire being of them that is present, but there's a very big disconnect, rejection in place as well. Now, this is a mass conscious thing. This isn't just an individual. And so it's my opinion, and I'll say it very cleanly like that, it's my opinion that that this is a core of much, because we are so incredible. We are whole. The wholeness of us actually includes the free-flowing emotions of all sorts, just like our earth. I mean, it's not just sunny all of the time, because if it was, we would be a desert. We need the water, we need the rain, we need the fluids we need it to water the earth, to nourish it, to put it down. As long as we are separating ourselves and disallowing the process, I can really feel people right now on the call, and I really acknowledge you. It's okay to feel the sensations of what you're feeling, because they've got good cause. It's okay to feel those sensations, and when we experience them as sensations, they flow freely. There's a beautiful song called I'm Raining on the Inside, and I don't know if it's called that, but it's got those words in it, and I've just had it in my sphere the last 3 days. You know how you have a song playing over, and it's the best way I can describe how I'm now moving through different things in life. Is I don't actually feel like crying. I don't. I feel incredible, but there's this desire within my body to water itself. And when I sink into it, I can literally feel like I'm raining on the inside. And I think in the past that would have been a reign that was stopped and disallowed, and would have eventually had a pivotal point either internally within me or externally by an event that happened to create me to contract in such a way that I'd eventually cry. And I might do that, I mean, completely ungracefully, through some level of a tantrum and then into a falling apart thing. And when we're falling apart, that's a little death. Oh gosh, I'm passionate about this. And I hope that was
Yeah. It's a little death, though. It's a little death of, don't you believe, it's a little death of some of the shoulds of life, because you've mentioned shoulds, and you also mentioned, can't remember the word now, but there's sort of so many shoulds and so many judgments that we as humans surround ourselves by. And in actual fact, a lot of the time try and create our persona around all the shoulds and judgments, what we believe other people see us as. And I had a wonderful conversation with an amazing client this morning about judgment and perception, and how we can never judge anyone else because we've never stood in anyone else's physical shoes. But we judge ourselves all the time. I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough, I should do this, should, instead of going, you know what, I am enough. I am enough, and I am complete. And I had another conversation yesterday with another beautiful client, and we were talking about perfection and how we see that, you know, I haven't got a perfectly oval face, or I've got wrinkles, or I haven't got long enough legs, and instead of trying to create a being that isn't us, it's about how do we appreciate the perfection in our imperfections. No answer to that, really, is there? but you see what I mean? It's like we, as humanity, we're judging each other instead of loving each other,
and judging ourselves instead of
loving ourselves,
loving and expressing ourselves. So there's another thing too, that cannot not be discussed here, and that is that a time frame reference. So all right, so there's this now here, which is very long. Yeah. There's just this now here, and it's really long. And the moment my beautiful creative mind takes me anywhere else other than here, I have an experience, but I'm already experiencing in this now. So if my beautiful mind goes and grabs something that makes me feel sad from my past and brings it into my now for me to contemplate, and I jump into this thought and I explore this thought, and he said and she said and they said and I felt, and then I saw and then I felt, and then I told myself this and then I felt this, and then it just, and this beautiful process that we are made up to do, where the mind has a thought or the body has a feeling, and they share their experiences with each other, which is why we love sharing. So the body shares, this is what I'm feeling right now, and the mind goes, oh yeah, I know more of those experiences that you've had in the past, so here you go, here's some more things that are very much in synchronicity with the feeling that you're having right now. And the body goes, oh my God, yes, I can feel that.
Yeah.
And then it, not just the groups of body sensations do it, but the whole body, 50 trillion cells begin to tune in to this ongoing beautiful cycle of expression that for some reason is desiring to be felt by me, you.
Yeah.
That's actually beautiful, because the same pattern exists with anything. So if my beautiful mind goes and grabs a thought from the future that hasn't even happened yet, and I have a look at it and I go, oh gosh, I don't know how to deal with that. I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm not sure what's to happen. Oh, in the past, jump back and I grab a thought from the past. Now I'm making my past equal my future, because now I've got, oh, in the past when that happened, this is what I did. Well, this time I'm going to do this. And oh, actually it really didn't work out. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Now I've grabbed my past and my future and I've brought it into my now. And so now my brain's doing this and my body's reacting and responding. Oh. And there's a beautiful experience that's being had within the space that is me, you. And if I judge any of that and I say I should or shouldn't do that, that's not okay. Things aren't okay here. Then 50 trillion cells go, oh, who did that? What? So there's a high alert that comes on. Now we go into blaming. So the cells within their body go, blame, 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 blame. But often we don't recognize it's within ourselves. So we find somebody else to blame. Now, this is connected to depression because it's a process. Really? It's a process. And so normally inside of that, there'll be blame. There'll be a big one first actually is denying that this is even going on. I'm just feeling like this. I am just this. I'm just sad. Could easily say, I'm just happy. You could say it in a sad way, I'm just happy. There's many options that can come after the I am statement.
Indeed. There is. There's so many things. And don't you think we are the words we speak, we are the emotions we feel. And when you were talking, it made me realize, when you're talking about there's all this vocal stuff going on in the cells, that also then goes into the physical thing of it's actually us switching ourselves, our body, into stress mode. And I'm not talking about the stress of work or the stress of this and the stress. We switch our body into an adrenal cortisol response that sends us into stress mode, which is when we start going into fear, doubt, anxiety. And then we go into our lizard brain, which I've talked about before, which is the diencephalon, and that keeps us in high alert so that we're always watching out for what might go wrong, instead of feeling into what might go right. What I get my clients to do, Karyn, is right, okay, when you get a pain, when you get a depression, what is the depression trying to teach us? What is it telling us? What's wrong? What's not right? And what can I do now?
So bouncing off that, let's just look at one cell in the body that's running a pattern of feeling pretty damn bad that we're calling and labeling depression, and then there's multiple cells that will be doing this. It's kind of like the radio station, like you said. There's a tuning in to certain aspects and memories within the cell. This doesn't make it right or wrong. This is just the way that it is, the way life is expressing in a current moment. And I am with you completely, because some of the deepest, darkest moments that I've had in my life actually were also the turning points. But it had to get pretty bad sometimes. It had to get pretty bad in order for me to, this contracting period, this contracting in. Now it's lovely if you go and connect with somebody, whether they're a healer or somebody who has a listening ear that doesn't feed it, they actually help the cell fully express in order for the newness, the lightness, the ease, the grace also to flow, right? Because we've got everything in us. We are everything. We are so whole. We are completely whole. We have all levels to access. It's just, what are we tuning into? What are we tuning into? I truly believe movement is a big one for depression. Of course, when you really feel like you can't get off the couch, even wiggling your toes seems to be against your will. Yeah. So this is where we've got to treat the wholeness of everything. I know magnesium is a big base, just to give the body some support, some level of support. Magnesium not orally, but actually applied to the skin. And Karyn has magnesium available. That's a really good one to just give some support and nurture within the space. Often in sleep can be a dissatisfying experience, because if someone's really in a deep depressive space, they don't want to actually wake up in the morning, right?
Yeah.
So let's address this. To not want to wake up in the morning is a pretty big thing, and I understand it. And if that's an experience that you're having right now, oh my God, this goes out to you so much. You're an incredible being, and it might be time for you to see that the way you're currently creating life is in discord to who you really are. Which the beautiful thing here is that you're already a whole being. It's like only focusing on the north side, or the west, south side, or the east side, or the west side of south. So only seeing a small aspect, and only experiencing over and over in a small aspect of who you really are. So the heart smile's a big one. Heart smile's a real big one. But ultimately, it's the connection with self. Meditation's great for that.
Absolutely. Really good for that.
Great for that.
And you've got some wonderful meditations, haven't you, that you can...
Yeah, I do. Really do. Meditation's a great one, because it reconnects you to yourself easily and effortlessly, right? The other thing, and I love this as a game. When somebody's got so much going on in their mind that they're literally driving themselves crazy, is I go, listen for your next thought. Right? As you listen.
Nothing comes in, eh?
I love that one. Listen for your next thought, or look for your next thought, because there's this beautiful space. Now I want to connect this also to, if I may, are you good with this, Karyn?
Go for it, yeah.
So there's this beautiful space of a no thing. This beautiful space of no thing. I personally think that the gift of what depression points to is a realization that is within us, that the freedom will come from connection to no thing for a moment, which will actually pop you out to connection to yourself. Now, those are just words until the experience happens, right?
Mm.
But this no thing, this space of no thing, allows the 50 trillion cells, which are energetic, emotion, energy and motion, thought generated as well. So this electric idea, the magnetic of the heart, and the physical nature of the moving molecules of your being, all has a moment to get some relief. Because that's what we're going for first.
The thing about you're talking about the cells is we're talking about releasing of cellular memory. When we're clearing and moving from one state of beingness, which may be feeling a bit down, or very down, into lighter, into feeling slightly better, feeling and going through the motions until you realize that you've moved from really down state to a much better place. To do that in a more permanent basis, we're always going to feel the ups and downs of life. But if we're going to do that in a more permanent basis, then we need to change that cellular memory that we have that's actually causing us to keep on going back into that pattern.
So there's multiple gateways to that, right? The story we're telling ourselves, the experience that's been encoded. I mean, in the theta healing work that I participate with and witness all the time, there can actually be a clearing of the energy banks within the cells, which can really release people. But this can be done naturally anyway. It's a natural process. The body knows how to heal from trauma. The not just the body, the entire being knows how to heal from trauma. And healing is simply the movement back to health expressing. So it's not, there's such a glorious way of us going, one is right, one is wrong, one is good, one is bad. But we are the alchemy of change. We really are the alchemy of change. And I even risk people loving me more or less in my next statement. But to hold the state of depression for a long period of time is actually the proof of your excellence. It is actually the proof of your excellence and your exquisite nature to be so freaking stubborn in some regards that until something has happened within you to allow the true release, you're just not letting it happen. And I say this from the depth of my being and understanding that your natural way of being is free flow. Your natural way of being, when all of you is combined, instead of breaking it down to physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, and vibration, when we go, the whole of you, that natural expression changes all the time. It's a moving consistency. That's natural. Normal might be a way of being, and it might be what's showing up in that present space. Could be the environment, because the cells in your body, okay, so now we come back to the physical again. See how we jump around to all the gateways. So Karyn was mentioning the release of a cell. So the way a cell works, and people who are on here who know more, please forgive me for my simple nature of explaining this. So let's say this is one cell in the body. It actually responds tremendously through, Bruce Lipton's work will point directly to this. It directly interacts with the energy space around it. Remember I said about that no thing before? So the energy space that is around each individual cell is pivotal in how the cell behaves. If the energy space around it feels unsafe or is toxic in any way, it cannot not create the cell to behave in certain ways and become a bit prickly. And I'm repeating myself because we've talked about this before, Karyn, but it's fascinating because if the energy around an individual cell is conducive to health and it feels safe, the cell will immediately transform itself, because the alchemy of change that is within you has the capacity to do it.
Yes.
And this is what comes back.
And I think that's one thing we have to remember as humans, is a human body has the hugest capacity and it wants to be healthy. As long as we give it the right ingredients, as you quite rightly say, Karyn, the right thoughts, the right environment. And I mean, I'm going to harp on because that's my area of forte, is making sure that we have the right nutrients within our body so that it is as clear a space as possible and as healthy as cells physically as possible. So if we can work on, now I don't like to call it work, I don't know how you call it really, because work brings up all sorts of connotations for many, but if we sort of play with, that's better, play feels better, doesn't it? If we play with, working on playing with our emotions, our feelings, what food we put in our body, and seeing it as a real joyful experience, that would make a big difference to the way we feel on a day-to-day basis. And also, if you can just have an affirmation or something that feels right for you, like, I am feeling much lighter and flow through life a bit better today, or whatever feels more uplifting if you can say that in front of the mirror 30 times, like, I am beautiful, I am whole, and I am healthy. We know that the more you say those things in the mirror, you look yourself in the eye, or you work with another person and you say that to another person and look them in the eyes, we know, is that that can make a huge difference to your health. Plus, of course, putting the right foods in your body and all that sort of stuff. But we know that that sort of thing really works. So why don't we do it? Why do we put obstacles in the way of doing that? Karyn, over to you.
I think we have a playful desire to feel the contrast, which is to feel shit. I think we have a playful desire in ourselves to feel the contrast, because within the contrast is the wholeness. And yeah, so within the contrast also gives us a greater bounce to the highs of life. So this is the wholeness of us, right? We can experience anything, but we will have habitual natures, and we can actually, when they say chemically depressed, yeah, actually, because the chemicals in the body that are being released have become addictive, and the body is used to that chemical release. The body is used to those particular thoughts. The body is literally, not the body, the wholeness of this being currently is feeding the entire process itself. Now, is someone making themselves depressed, and am I being unkind in saying that? I think everything has a purpose, and there'll be something that is being gained by it being in place, because it cannot not. There's always a secondary gain going on. There's some level of deep need and desire that is being fulfilled to allow that level of expression to continue. And
that's an interesting one, isn't it?
And there will be, this is the gift, right? This is that strategy and that coping mechanism may well and truly be out of date. It may have been a perfect way to deal with something at some point, but there was no pop-out strategy set in. Okay, I've come to the end of that strategy being useful for me. Now I'm going to flip into a new way of being. I'm going to explore some other ways of being. Deep pressing things that haven't been attended to. Do you see the play on the words there? Deep pressing things that haven't yet been attended to, haven't had light, your awareness, your witness, your inner expression allowed. Often it's a misperception. So there's only one side, the north side, like I said before, only one side of a situation being viewed until the wholeness of it, the south side, comes in too. There will be the body working in its best health that it possibly can, which is everything having to work around the deep pressing importance of something to be realized. So brought to reality in order for an experience to be had, so that the self can be sustained and fed at some other level. So I highly acknowledge people who are having a deep pressing moment in their life, because it doesn't feel easy. And when we have a whole lot of labels towards emotions with it, it can make it even feel more contradicting, because many of those emotions by social performance are deemed not okay. Yeah. And yet, this is the wholeness of who we are. We're deeply expressive beings living life. And in fact, we are life expressing.
Oh, that's what a thing that just came to, there's a few things that came to mind as you were talking, Karyn, is with Conversations with God, Neil Donald Walsh brings up when God talks to him and goes, have you had enough yet? And because very often it's only when we get really to the end of our tether that we will actually make long-term changes. And I would say to anyone who's listening to this is, have you had enough? Because it's really important that we because I know, when I've been working with clients, the people who do the best work, who make the biggest changes, are those ones that know that if they don't make those changes, their life's unbearable. Whether it's physically or whether it's emotionally or whatever, we know, I mean, you must have encountered this as well, Karyn, is that those people who know that their life at this present moment in time is unbearable, and so they want to make changes. And I know when someone talks to me either on the phone or comes to see me, I know that they're going to succeed, because I know that they've reached that tipping point where they're not going to put up with that anymore.
Yeah.
And I know that I did that, when I was in my 20s, I did that. And I have been searching for my best level of health ever since.
So in the orientation, right, that's a continued, all it is a slight shift. I'd like to think of it on a protractor. So it's not about making this huge shift. The most sustainable movements are the little ones. So get some magnesium, that's your base, that's your support. Put yourself in some situations where you're doing something different than normal, so that you've got new environmental things going on. That could be the physical space, that could be your social space, that could be what you do at your lunchtime in your workspace. That could be what you're feeding your mind in your reading material, or you're watching, what you're watching online. So get some of those real bases in place. And also, if you're looking to get some level of, I'm really hesitant to say this, but some level of counselling in place, invite it to be an orientation, one little segment at a time, towards health, not just rehashing and recreating the old stuff in a more sophisticated way. It's about actually having a new perspective to come from it. Could be a shift from the heart. Ultimately, it will be the heart, the head and the gut all in alignment, and the flow happening, so that your inner core fire, your belly and your fire in your belly, the heart smile and the clarity in the mind are all in synchronicity with each other again. And of course, when we feel separate from our natural flow, which is that, we can feel pretty crap. But that crap nature is your own GPS to head you back, just as Karyn said, gently, easily, effortlessly, one step at a time, piece by piece, movement by movement, flow by flow, conversation by conversation, thought by thought, feeling by feeling. There I am. Yeah, there I am. You'll say to yourself, you will, oh my gosh, there I am. And like your wobblies, that's okay, because it's part of the richness of the fabric of who we are. Oh my gosh, we got 5 minutes left, Karyn.
No, I've just been asked a question by Messenger and about thyroid, because the thyroid health, if you're underactive thyroid, then you're very likely to be depressed. And so there's lots of things you can do about that, but it's a good idea to check it out, but not necessarily by a blood test, because the blood test will actually show what hormones are buzzing around in your body, but it doesn't actually show what they're actually doing, if they're being uptaken. But I'd look at the thyroid, because it's here, it's right in the throat, I know from having had an underactive thyroid, I know that it's all to do with a lot of, for me, was about speaking up, speaking my truth, speaking who I am. But also, very often, it appears that you have a thyroid issue. You've actually got an adrenal issue, which goes back to the stress thing. So it's actually looking and finding out, as well as dealing with the emotional flim-flam that we have going on in our head, but actually looking at the physicality of getting the right nutrients and the right things in your body that's going to help you physically and emotionally and spiritually and any otherly that comes to mind, Karyn, and getting them in balance. And I think it's finding the right balance for you, because every single one of us is uniquely, beautifully unique.
We really are. And I really acknowledge you. If you've got someone else in your family, if you're a practitioner, wasn't that cool?
Yeah.
If you're a practitioner on this call, if you have been experiencing your own expression of deep resting within, just one little step for either your client or for yourself. And finding the joys, because this is another thing I've observed, just in wrapping this up, this is another thing I've observed with people who are so exquisite at holding a certain way of being in place, that they're disallowing the moments that are good. They're actually disallowing the good feeling thoughts. They're actually disallowing, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's not within my range.
Yeah.
And swear this, I've witnessed this. People pop out and they're feeling fabulous, and then you can sort of see them go, oh, this is unusual, don't know what this feels. Oh, there we go, I feel better now.
Yeah. We're comfortable in our uncomfortableness, and that's
we're all the same. We're all the same.
We're no different. We have habits of thought, and the only thing I can say is every day I've been working on letting go of certain little things, and as you say, Karyn, is step by step, little tiny steps sometimes. It feels like you go backwards, but just step by step, we can make huge shifts over a very short period of time.
Absolutely, because step by step is moment by moment, which is a elongated moment, and sometimes listening intently for that next thought, that no thing, allows space within to rest. Yeah. And the pressing things that need to be witnessed and observed for ourselves, that hold the gifts, can be expressed, as Karyn says, through the vibrational creation mode into a new way of being. You are magnificent. You really are magnificent. Truly thank you from the bottom of my heart. Karyn, anything in your...
Me too. This is my joy, is to be able to share with you and to be able to express who we are, because we're just expressing parts of who we are and sharing with you our experiences. And we love the interaction with everyone because it's just magic.
Yeah.
And thank you, Karyn, for your wonderful insights, because I've learned a lot today, so thank you.
Oh, cool. I might have to listen, because I think a lot of that might be new for me too.
Cool.
Love and blessings to absolutely everybody. So that is medical and metaphysical magic with Karyn Creighton. Thank you, Karyn, for being here, and with Karen Janelle Davis around depression. And we have a new live at 12 o'clock on Wednesday next week as well. So thank you very much for tuning in with us.